Truth exists by itself, beyond the veil of human perception. In the boundless realms beyond our comprehension, truth stands sovereign, an immutable reality that exists independent of our awareness or acknowledgement. It is neither created nor destroyed, but simply is. While we fashion narratives and construct frameworks to capture fragments of this greater truth, what we ultimately grasp may be merely shadows cast upon the walls of our limited understanding. The eternal paradox. Truth exists by itself, pure and undisturbed, like a mountain peak obscured by clouds of human interpretation. Our perceptions, colored by the prisms of language, culture, and individual experience, refract this singular truth into a multitude of perspectives. What we call knowledge is often but a pale reflection, a translation of the ineffable into the language of the finite. The ancient mystics understood this paradox. They spoke of the Tao that cannot be named, the Brahman beyond description, the Ein Sof that transcends definition. These traditions recognized that ultimate reality defies containment within the vessel of human thought. The moment we attempt to articulate truth, we inevitably distort it, for words are tools too crude to capture its essence. The lie we live. Our daily existence unfolds within a constructed reality, a tapestry of symbols, concepts, and social agreements that we mistake for fundamental truth. We navigate through life guided by maps that bear only passing resemblance to the territory they claim to represent. These maps serve our practical needs but remain approximations at best, fabrications at worst. The modern world amplifies this distortion. We surround ourselves with technologies that mediate our experience, screens that frame our vision, algorithms that curate our understanding. Each layer of interpretation distances us further from direct communion with what is. We mistake the menu for the meal, the finger pointing at the moon for the moon itself. The veil of separation. At the heart of our disconnection from truth lies the illusion of separateness, the belief that observer stands apart from observed. This dualistic perspective fragments the seamless whole into subject and object, knower and known. Yet in moments of profound insight, mystics throughout the ages have glimpsed beyond this veil to recognize the fundamental unity underlying all apparent division. In the words of the Upanishads, that thou art. The perceiver and the perceived are expressions of the same underlying reality. The boundaries we perceive between self and other, mind and matter, human and divine, may be constructions of consciousness rather than features of ultimate truth. Beyond utility. Modern civilization has elevated utility to the status of truth. We value knowledge for what it enables us to manipulate, control, and transform. This pragmatic orientation treats reality as raw material to be shaped according to human desire, rather than as a mystery to be approached with reverence and humility. The mystic recognizes the limitations of this utilitarian perspective. Truth transcends usefulness. It does not exist to serve human purposes but stands complete in itself, indifferent to our designs. When we reduce truth to what serves our ends, we exchange the infinite for the merely useful, a bargain that impoverishes the soul even as it enriches material existence. Glimpses of the absolute. Despite the veil of our limitations, Human consciousness occasionally pierces through to glimpse the unconditioned truth. In moments of profound meditation, artistic inspiration, or spontaneous awakening, the constructed self temporarily dissolves, allowing direct apprehension of what lies beyond. These glimpses come not through intellectual force but through surrender, a willing abdication of the controlling mind that constantly shapes experience to fit pre-existing patterns. When thought subsides, when the interpretive mechanisms of ego temporarily suspend their ceaseless activity, something else may reveal itself, reality unmediated, truth as it exists by itself. The Path of Unknowing. The quest for authentic truth demands a radical humility, an acknowledgement of our fundamental ignorance despite our accumulation of facts and theories. The mystic's journey often begins not with acquiring knowledge, but with releasing attachment to what we think we know. This is the wisdom of learned ignorance, described by Nicholas of Cusa, the cloud of unknowing, entered by the anonymous medieval mystic, the negative way of apophatic theology. By systematically negating our concepts and representations, we create space for direct encounter with what transcends conceptual thought. Truth beyond words. Language fails us when we approach the boundaries of ultimate truth. Words function through distinction and definition, yet the absolute transcends all boundaries and categories. This is why mystics often resort to paradox, poetry, and silence, not as evasions, but as acknowledgments of the limitations inherent in discursive thought. The finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. The map is not the territory. The word water will not quench thirst. Yet through these imperfect vessels, something of the ineffable may be transmitted, not as information to be processed, but as an invitation to direct experience. The mirror of consciousness. If truth exists independently of human perception, what then is the relationship between consciousness and reality? Perhaps consciousness serves not as creator of truth but as its mirror, a reflective surface in which the absolute may contemplate itself. In the words of the Hermetic tradition, as above, so below. Our highest calling may be to polish this mirror, to remove the distortions introduced by ego, desire, and fear. Through practices of presence, attention, and surrender, we may become more transparent to the truth that perpetually offers itself, regardless of our readiness to receive it. The eternal return. The journey toward truth follows a spiral path rather than a linear progression. We continually return to the same fundamental questions, yet with each circuit, we approach them from a more expanded perspective. What appeared as contradiction resolves into complementarity. What seemed like fragmentation reveals itself as aspects of a greater whole. This eternal return echoes the cyclical nature of existence itself, the breathing in and breathing out of the cosmos, the dance of manifestation and dissolution. Truth remains constant, while our capacity to apprehend it evolves through successive approximations, each incomplete yet pointing beyond itself. The sacred paradox. Ultimate truth may be simultaneously present everywhere and nowhere, accessible to all yet grasped by few. It exists as potential within each moment of ordinary experience, yet remains perpetually beyond full articulation or comprehension. This paradox lies at the heart of the mystical perspective. To touch truth is to be transformed by it. The separation between knower and known dissolves in the fire of direct recognition. What remains is not information but illumination. Not something to possess but something that possesses us. Not a conclusion but an opening into ever-deepening mystery. In the silence beyond these words, in the space between thoughts, in the gap between breaths, their truth exists by itself, patient and complete, waiting neither for our discovery nor our approval, yet intimately available to those who approach with empty hands and open hearts.